Welcome back everybody. My name is Rizbot the Blade, your personal mining guru, and today we're gonna explain you all what you need to know about ores, materials, and their properties. So let's dive in. Here we have a chart again from Red Monster Gaming for the mining data, which I again a little bit rearranged, so I'm gonna explain a little bit more easier, and you guys can maybe more understand easier what is important and what is not important. And I'm gonna put his link in the description. In Star Citizen game, it exists like 4 tiers of mining materials. The best one is if you wanna say like 0 tier or Q tier, then we have tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3 materials. The most valuable one is normally this Q tier, or if you wanna say Quantanium ore, which is very rare and you can just find it by luck. It's not some knowledge or some pattern on which you can follow and find this material. You know, it's scattered all over the Stanton system, all the moons, planets, and in space. If you find it, you should always mine it because it's gonna bring you the most money, but it's the most rare one. Then we have tier 1 materials, which are Baxelite, Terranite, and Gold. And this is materials which are gonna be most important to you to mine. Then tier 2 materials, they're like 1.5 times less valuable than tier 1, and these tier 2 materials are boras, hephaestinate, beryl, agritium and laranite. And all these materials you can mine and also, you know, bring nice loads, but they're gonna be more than half less valuable than from tier 1 materials. What is concerning tier 3, this is materials which you're supposed to never, refine or collect, but you're always gonna have them in your mining ships as a collected material because they're like a second material which is always connected with tier 1 or with tier 2. Now I'm gonna explain you for what ore materials you should go for in tier 1 and tier 2. Baxelite, Terranite and Gold have basically almost the same price. It's in few percentage difference, so it doesn't matter which one you collect, you're gonna get almost the same value for all three. But it's a big difference between all three. And that difference is in density of materials inside the rock. The easiest way how I can explain that is that if you have 1 ton of gold, you're gonna get in the Terranite situation 2 tons of Terranite, and in the Baxelite situation you're gonna get 2.5 tons Baxelite. So that means that gold is the worst to mine, because Terranite you're getting 1 times more than gold in the same percentage, you know, in the rock, and Baxelite you're getting almost 1.5 times than gold. That's why I place them in this order: Baxelite, Terranite and gold, because all three are great value, but if you need to choose between three, you always choose first Baxelite, then Terranite, then gold as the last. Same goes for tier 2 materials. So here we have boras, hephaestinate, beryl, agritium and laranite. And if you see in the density down in the chart, for agritium and laranite, it has the highest value. That means that the density is very low. The best densities have beryl and hephaestinate. But in this tier 2 materials, I put on the first place boras, because he is in the some middle range, but you're getting the most money for it. For example, if you have hephaestinite or beryl, which has similar price, boras is gonna be increased in some like 35% to 40 in price. That means if you mine, for example, with mole and you fill up full capacity, you're just pure beryl or hephaestinite in the ship, you can get for that around 200k, 210 to 20k. But if you mine boras, it can be to 330k, maybe 350, just depends where you're selling. So that's not small difference, right? And boras as a material has very low instability, so which is a great thing when you're mining. Two materials in tier 2 which you should not go for when you mine, they're agritium and laranite. And these two are bad just because they have a very low density and they have also resistance bigger, and their cluster modifier, it's pretty same like first three materials, right? But in general, the density of materials play a big role, because this is what is gonna determine how much materials you're gonna get from that rock when you crack it. So that's a very important thing in all materials which you should look for. And as a last, we have tier 3 materials, which are totally not important. And the reason for that is that their value for selling is abnormal low. If you're gonna mine, for example, the most valuable one, which is titanium, you're gonna get for full mole of pure titanium around 40k. That's abnormal small income for a full ship of ore. That's why you're not supposed to mine any of them. But these all materials gonna be present in all your rocks, depend on which place you're mining, you know, on which moon, where in space, on which planet, and they're gonna be as a second or third materials in your rock. Because of that, this is not important to even refine or even select in refinery. If you really want to, you can, but it's not recommended because it's just gonna take much more time and you need to pay much more fee to actually make a refining ticket. Here on the left side, we see average mass index. So what that means is how big rocks you can find on this designated area where you wanna go to mine with your mining ship. And here in this second column, we can see mass index range, which is determined how big rocks you can have from the smallest one to biggest one in that area. And you can see the smallest one is 1 to 8. So that's the index range with what you can determine where you wanna go mine. If you wanna go for more bigger rocks or you're gonna go for smaller rocks, that's all up to you, right? And on the full left side, we can see all the, you know, systems like Hearthstone, Crusader, Arco, Microtech. One big advice that I can give you is that weather, if you mine on surface somewhere on the moon or a planet, it's playing a big role because it's moving your ship. So if you wanna go mine where it's basically no weather, you need to go to mine on Crusader or Arcorp, because on Microtech and Hearthstone you have wind. All the time start to, you know, blowing and then stop blowing. Weather is bad there, not all the time normally, but Microtech is the worst what is concerning, you know, storms and weather. So it's not recommended to go there just because of that. Because if you mine with mole alone, you need to always switch from pilot seat to down deck where you have lasers. And if in that time wind starts to blow, it's gonna push your ship. So you need to go back to pilot seat, move the ship, and in the time when you're gonna go back down, it can move it again. So that's something annoying, right? And that also goes for Prospector, because if you're mining with Helix laser with Prospector and you wanna be very accurate, and if you wanna use distance from the rock to go more backwards to reduce your power, which you need to because you're mining very small rocks with that laser, otherwise you can explode. If you have wind is gonna mess your exact length which you want, and then you can very easily, you know, crash into rock, or you can go far away, so you cannot be accurate with your power management. So that's very important to know. And here down we can see it says Desirability Index, which if it's green and a higher number, this is the better, you know, ore to mine. And here we have also underneath, you know, density, instability, resistance, window size, and cluster modifier, which we're talking about also in previous videos when we talk about mining heads. So all these numbers are important for you to determine what you need to set up on your lasers, what you need to use, where you need to mine, and all that stuff. Now we're gonna show you here, you can see again these values, and you can see also average value of the ores. So here you can instantly see that tier 3 materials have abnormal lower value than tier 2, tier 1 and tier Q, which is containing. It's a very big difference. And on the end we can also see here gems, so that's for hand mining and also with the rock mining car. And also here you can see janelite, so this is for mining in caves, and you can see that have much more higher value than hadanite, which you're always supposed to mine, you know, with hand mining or with rock mining car. One more thing, what you can see here, what we don't have in that first picture in that chart, is explosion multiplier. So this is showing you which materials are more explosive and which are less explosive. And you can see that Continuum is the most explosive one, then it's Taranite, then it's Laranite, and then you have Hephaestionite and Boras, which is almost half less explosive. So top 3 are Continuum, Taranite and Laranite. So if you overheat the rock, that's gonna end very bad for you. It's gonna strip off your modules, it's gonna damage the ship, or in worst case, you can explode. We're gonna show you now also here a Regolith calculator, with which I'm gonna explain you how much you can earn with your runs if you know, going for mining in your Prospector and in your mole with all these important ores. So let's start. First ore is gonna be a Continuum. So if we press, you see here, it says Continuum with that pink square. And now you see here it says Prospector 3200 CSU and mole has 9600 CSU. So that basically means in normal SCU it's 32 SCU and the mole it's 96 SCU in capacity. And for Continuum, if we write here, for example, for Prospector 32, you can see that which is the price. So this price can vary from stations which you can select, right? So all these stations, if we select, for example, Terra Gateway, you see now it's under 700. So all the stations have different bonuses which can give you for refinement. And one of the best ones, for example, Continuum, is Arkel 2. So that's basically the highest that you can get for Continuum in a Prospector. And if that was the mole, then we need to exchange this value to 96 SU, so now it's 2.1 million. So this is how much is the maximum what you can get. But as you see here, it says, if you want to put a decimal number here for SU, it's 96, but you're actually getting 84 SU out. So it's like in real life, you know, you can get the same amount out because you have some materials which needs to be removed. That's the whole point of refinement, right? And one thing what I want to say more is that you basically never gonna collect so much. Same as Prospector, same as mole. You're always gonna collect like maybe half a ship or 2/3 of a ship or three-quarters of a ship, you know, because you're collecting all the ores which you cannot remove or filter out. The only thing what you can filter, like we are talking about in our previous videos, is inert material. And this material you anyway don't get a lot. So let's now show you how that would be for Baxillite, which is a second material. So for Prospector, we can put here Baxillite, right? So it's around 250k on this station. But if we press other stations, maybe for example, you see MIG L5, usually on that one you can get more. But this is all up to you if you want to go further away from your place where you mine to deliver to some far station. So it's about time, you know, it's a more traveling, but then you get the more ore for that. And if you have ores on all different kinds of stations to be refined, who has refineries, and then you need to go all around the Stanton system to take with your cargo ship all that refinery tickets which are done to collect. So it's not everything on one place. So that's up to you if you wanna, you know, really maximize your income and if you wanna go all around the system. Let's now show you for mole. So it's 96 again. So you see how much you can earn with the mole. But like I said, you know, it's never gonna be so high. It's gonna be maybe maximum 3/4 because you're always gonna have something in the ship, you know. Sometimes you can be lucky to actually, you know, maximize it, but then you need to crack much more rocks. You need to always collect just 100% pure pieces from the floor and not collect anything else what is containing, you know, some other ores. connected with your ore, which you want and which you need. For Terranite and gold, it's basically the same thing around this price. It's like I said, it's few percentages difference, so we don't have to show you that. But we need to show you for Boras. So Boras is the best and the most valuable tier 2 material, and if you put it on Prospector, so this is how much you can get with Prospector. And then if you wanna see that with mole, how much it will be full mole, so it's around 310k, right? So this is the best from tier 2, and for other materials which supposed to go, it's only beryl and Hephaestonite. So let's put beryl on. So with Prospector is 82k, right? But you also have some better places, I think, where you can sell this. 82, this is around 80, this is around 80, yeah, so it's around that price. Hephaestonite is the same thing, right? So this is the ores which you go for: Continuum, Baxelite, Terranite, Gold, Boras, Beryl and Hephaestonite. So this is what you need to remember, and normally from best to worst is Continuum, Baxelite, Terranite, Gold, Boras, and then Beryl and Hephaestonite. But Beryl is supposed to be on the last place because Hephaestonite doesn't have resistance at all, so it's same like dirt, you know, like inert material, so it's the easiest thing to mine, so you need the least power for that material. So between two, Hephaestonite is better for that, but Beryl, because of the best density, you're getting it the most from the rock. I hope that is much more clear now to you guys what you're supposed to go for. I'm gonna do a lots of videos with actual mining with Prospector and Mole, but first I really wanted to share with you all that information to explain you all these charts, you know, for mining lasers, for mining modules and gadgets, for ores, so you guys can have some more, you know, knowledge about what everything you should know, because it's really important, you know, so you actually have valuable runs. One more thing that we need to show you, it's a ore percentage by location in space. So that first chart was on the surface, and you can see here that where you can go to mine is 2 belts, and everything else is all around the system, around stations. So Aaron Hello is the safest place to go to mine what is concerned attacks, you know, attacks on you from pirates, you know, griefers and all kinds of people who want to hurt you, for example. And Yellow Belt and all the stations are like a point of interest, so that means that you can be very easily attacked there. In Yellow Belt not so much, but you have a lots of missions that can spawn there, so if you don't have luck, you can run into some people who are actually, you know, can hurt you. But what is concerned stations, that's very close proximity next to stations, so you have rocks immediately next to them, and you can go directly just mine when you fly out like 10-15 kilometers away from the station. And it's not very safe place to be, because every player can spawn there and then they can instantly, you know, see your signature that you're mining there, and you know, standing still, and they can very easily attack you. What is concerning average mass index, you can see that it's much higher here in space. So on surface you can have smaller rocks, so it's much more recommended to go mine with Prospector on surface. And if you see, it says mass index range is going to 9. So if you remember, we said before that on surface it's going to 8. So yeah, in space supposed to be bigger rocks by these charts, and this is all recently added like that. It's a little bit changed, and normally you have all these percentages, you know, of ores where you can go to mine. So what you decide, it's up to you, you know. If you want to go for more like tier 1 materials or maybe tier 2, you can see what is marked as yellow, it's the best, and then it's the green, and then with white it's the lowest percentages. Biggest difference between mining on surface, on the moons and planets, and in space, is that on surface you basically have clusters who have large amounts of rocks, which you don't have so much in space. And other thing is that in space is all full of rocks all around, and on surface you have like a plate underneath you, if you want to say, which is actual surface of the moon. So you can easily spot, you know, these boxes all around. So you can only go all directions, but you cannot go underneath you, right, when you're flying around. Normally it's a little bit more dangerous, but in my personal experience, I didn't have so many attacks on me from pirates that I could say that that was very important. If you're attacked one per few weeks, that's nothing. Don't think about it too much. You know, many times you're not gonna even know that pirates exist around you. Great thing also about mining on surface is that on planets and especially moons, you have these mining facilities which are very close to you when you mine there, and then you can just quickly jump there. And if you put there in local inventory, because this facility has a local inventory, if you put there mining gadgets, mining modules, you know, drinks, every equipment that you need, you can very quickly go there and just take it. You know, it's very close. But overall, I'm recommending always mining on surface than in space. For me, it's more fun. It's much nicer scenery, you know, flying around above the surface. And I always like challenge, so I'm looking, you know, for bigger rocks, because most of the time on surface you can find them, you know, in much larger quantity than in space. I hope that's a lot more clear now, you know, with all this information and data and these old charts. And I'm gonna put this link in the description from Rand Monster so you can download that charts. But if you wanna get this like little bit redesigned charts what I made, then you can join our Discord, which is also gonna be linked in description, and in our mining data channel you can see these pictures there. I hope you guys are gonna remember a lot of this information, and I know it's a lot, but if you really have some questions you can always ask me, because I'm streaming every day on Twitch, so you can always find me there and just live ask me if you want something, or you can ask in the comments below the videos. And if you really liked all this and if you find them informative, guys, please, you know, subscribe, like, and share all this with other players who you think they need this all information to, you know, start the mining. Next video is gonna be about actual mining, so we're gonna get in ships and start to do shorter videos how to mine each material. So stay tuned, and till then, see ya everybody. Bye bye.